Drip, drip, drip. Inspiration flows from the performer in the form of dripping red, flowing from his right hand. Drip, drip, drip it goes. There was no room for tears. He was a star. Hold his head up high. He was no king. Not just yet. He could take pride in his performance. It was the only thing he could take pride in. However, he knew that even there he wasn't the best. He was an expert, but not a king. A mask that he will hang up later, not now. It was a crown he wanted, a crown he wishes, but it wasn't time for it. Back to being the note and rest. Step forward, step is left, step is right. Not enough, not enough. Congrats, Mina! It was a nice performance. People are happy. He was a king not. He was a performance savant, but not a king. A king of fools, a king of losers, perhaps. That was his crown. Hold his head up high. He was the king of the weakest, king of the fools. The shining, glimmering gates close upon him once again. Not today. The weakest of the strongest. That was his title. Hold his head up high. Smile through the pain. Hope glimmering, shivering. Smile through the sadness. Hold your head up high. Breathe in. Breathe out. Another loss to decorate his crown of losses. There was no Phoenix stage, and maybe it was too late. Yet, he takes another step forward towards an impossible ideal. Morning star, not yet. His shine faltered. Drip, drip, drip. His inspiration flows out of his body. Burning red inspiration. Dazzling and shining. Worthy of a brilliant star. Something he was not yet worthy for. Drip, drip, drip. Take one more step. Head held forward. Smile for the crowd. Be proud in his performance. Be proud of the smiles he brought. The performance savant walks, head held up high. There was no space for tears. A star should be shining, smiling brightly. Backdrop of sadness drowned out. Foundation of frustrations blotted out. Call him king, but not of performances. A title he was unworthy. Call him the king of dust, king of failures, king of losers. Pathetic monarch. Hold his head up high. Take one more step forward. Drip, drip, drip. Red flows from his right hand. No space for tears, for inspiration has taken its place. Dripping in its place, hold his head proud. Weakest of the strongest, the heel of giants. The one who stood at the starting gates of geniuses. The hard worker who shall always catch up. The slower brother of the musical prodigy, the interesting tag-along. Performer for the court, jester for royalty. Royal fool. Just call me for the celebration live. I'll drop by as promised. Keep the promise no matter what. Beaten and battered. Eyes locked on straight. Keep his promise. No matter how hard. No matter how pathetic. No matter if it was already forgotten. The only one who needs to remember is he. Go forward and complete the promise. Even if it takes a lifetime. He smiles, waving to everyone. Drip, drip, drip. Inspiration stains his dust-coated face. Red running down his cheeks. Crimson inspiration taking the place of tears. Hold his head high. Smile as big as always. He was an actor. Wear the mask of happiness. Drown out the cries of frustrations. Blot out the sadness. Sadness was luxury the weak cannot afford. Sadness was those who can afford to fall back. Those who wasn't stuck playing catch-up. The strongest of the weak waves towards everyone. Red inspiration staining his face. Slowly until he approached the shadows. Game face on. He still had something to do. Try harder even if it's pointless. Try harder even if it's ugly. Pathetic and laughable. Try and try. Claw towards the impossible. The exemplary ordinary. The spectacular banality. Climatic cliché. Run-of-the-mill amazement. Paradoxically, he was special among the worms and dust, the strongest of the masses, of the crowd, the weakest of the strongest. That was he, the strongest among the weak, king of losers, pathetic monarch, kingdom of dust, royalty of failures, monochrome rest, and the note races again. Try again and again, pointless and cliched, boring and unspectacular. Try again and again, towards the heavens, towards impossibility. Claw towards the impossible, break his body, dig out his fingers, crack his voice, sing and sing. Utterly pointless, but sing he must. Another eulogy as his crowning glory, a ballad of silence as the herald of his arrival. Fight till the bitter end, fight all the pointless battles. That is credo for the day. That was the theme of this performance. Fight till he's black and blue, fight until he can only crawl. Fight and fight. Drip, 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 dust-coated and red-stained. Inspiration flows from him. Crimson taking the place of tears. Breathe in and breathe out. Hold your head up high. Wear the crown of losses. Wear the badge of the weakest. Step forward. Left and right. Left and right. Towards the gates. Toward the spectacular normalcy. Dust cake finale. A dramatic, tragic end. Presenting a dramatic reading of something I wrote for an RP from the perspective of the character that I wrote. A performer and a racer. King of performances and the king of the weakest. Slave to the spotlight and a weakness towards the crimson inspiration. Hora. Start.